Some stories fade with time, buried beneath silence, lost in forgotten files, or dismissed as mysteries that will never be solved. But behind every case is a voice that was never heard, a truth still waiting in the dark. This channel is dedicated to the victims, the unanswered questions, and the stories that refuse to disappear. Because somewhere, someone still knows what happened. Welcome to Cries Unheard in the Darkness. June 6, 1992, was supposed to be a finish line. For 19-year-old Suzie Streeter and 18-year-old Stacy McCall, it was the day they finally closed the chapter on high school. The air in Springfield was thick with the humid promise of summer and the frantic energy of 100 different graduation parties. Suzie's mother, 47-year-old Sherrill Levitt, watched from the stands with the pride of a single parent who had worked hard as a stylist to build a life for her daughter. By all accounts, the bond between Sherrill and Suzie was unbreakable. As the sun dipped, the girls set out to celebrate. They moved from one gathering to the next, their cars trailing each other through neighborhood streets. The original plan was a hotel stay in Branson, but the fatigue of a long day, and a house too crowded with visiting relatives, led to a fateful change of plans. Around 2 a.m. on June 7th, the pair decided to head back to Sherrill's house on East Delmer Street. It was a quiet, domestic decision. Stacy told her mother she would call in the morning. Suzie was eager to show off a new waterbed. They were seen driving away into the pre-dawn silence. It was the last time anyone outside that house would see them alive. When 9 a.m. rolled around, the silence began to feel heavy. Their friend, Janelle Kirby, arrived at the Delmer residence expecting to find two girls ready for a day at the water park. Instead, she found an unlocked door and a strange crystalline mess on the porch, the shattered remains of a glass lamp globe. Thinking nothing of it, Janelle's boyfriend swept the glass away, a well-intentioned gesture that would later be mourned as the destruction of vital forensic evidence. Inside, the house felt frozen. The women's vehicles were in the driveway, though Suzie's car was parked oddly, away from her usual spot. Their handbags were lined up in Suzie's room, containing their IDs, keys, and, most disturbingly, Sherrill's $900 in cash from the salon. Sherrill was a heavy smoker. Her cigarettes were still on the nightstand. The television in Suzie's room was humming with the white noise of an ended broadcast. The only living soul left was Cinnamon, the family's Yorkshire Terrier, who was found in the house in a state of frantic distress. By the time the police were called, the crime scene had already been cleaned. Friends and family, assuming the women had simply stepped out, had tidied up the kitchen and emptied ashtrays. But the most haunting loss happened at the hands of the phone. While waiting for news, Janelle answered a series of disturbing calls from an unidentified man, making graphic, lewd comments. Later, Stacy's mother listened to a strange message on the answering machine, a recording she believed held the key to the entire mystery. In a tragic technical fluke common to 90s answering machines, the message was accidentally deleted before authorities could secure it. In the decades following that quiet June morning, the vacuum left by the three women was filled by a dark gallery of possibilities. When physical evidence is scarce, the shadows of the past are all investigators have to chase. One of the earliest names to surface was Dustin Recla, Suzie's former boyfriend. Just months before the vanishing, Recla had been caught in a macabre crime, desecrating a local mausoleum to steal gold fillings from a skull. Suzie had reportedly spoken to authorities about the break-in, and some believed she was set to testify against him. On the night the women disappeared, Recla and his accomplices were known to be together in the area. Then there is Larry DeWayne Hall, a suspected serial predator who moved through the Midwest under the guise of a Civil War reenactor. Hall's timeline is chillingly synchronized with the Springfield mystery. He was participating in battle reenactments just 30 minutes north of the city on the very day of graduation. While Hall later boasted to an FBI operative about graphic crimes, he has never been officially tied to the Delmer residence. Other leads felt like cruel games. Robert Craig Cox, a convicted kidnapper serving time in Texas, claimed he was with the women that night and that their bodies would never be found. His alibi, provided by a girlfriend and his parents, eventually crumbled when his partner admitted he had asked her to lie. Yet Cox continues to withhold what he claims is the final truth, promising to speak only after his mother has passed. Perhaps the most haunting theory leads to a corner of a hospital parking garage. In 2007, a mechanical engineer used specialized radar to scan the foundations of the south garage at Cox Hospital. The scan revealed 3 distinct anomalies, roughly the same size, and arranged in a pattern consistent with a gravesite. Despite the parallel and perpendicular shapes beneath the concrete, the tip was dismissed. Authorities pointed out that construction on the garage didn't even begin until more than a year after the women vanished. For police, digging up the structure was an illogical, multi-million-dollar gamble based on a tip that reportedly originated from a dream or a psychic vision. There was one final chance. On New Year's Eve in 1992, a caller reached out to the America's Most Wanted hotline. Operators believed the man possessed prime knowledge of the abductions, but as they tried to patch the call through to Springfield investigators, the line went dead. The man never called back. In 1997, Sherrill Levitt and Suzie Streeter were legally declared dead, though the files remain open, cataloged under the permanent heading of missing. 3 lives, 1,000 theories, and a silence that Springfield can't seem to break. If you have any information regarding the case of Sherrill Levitt, Suzie Streeter, or Stacy McCall, please contact the Springfield Police Department. Thank you for listening to Cries Unheard in the Darkness. If this story stayed with you, you're not alone. Subscribe, because the darkness always has more to say. Until next time, listen carefully.